Nostalgia is a useless emotion, and memory is a tactless device. That's what I want to talk about today. So, um, the first phrase, nostalgia is a useless emotion, was something that a friend said a long time ago. We had a discussion about it. It wasn't like a very crazy, super serious discussion. It wasn't done in like the spirit of seriousness. Like we had a good discussion about it, but it was done in the moment of like humor from my memory. And then that other phrase, memories, a tactless device, was like very serious and a phrase that I wrote down one day years ago as well, because that's just how I felt. So, starting with nostalgia being a useless device, the way that Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines nostalgia is very appropriate. Pleasure and sadness that is caused by remembering something from the past and wishing that you could experience it again. So it says pleasure and sadness, and that's like the perfect way. It's just the perfect definition because it's not pleasure or sadness from remembering this thing you want to experience again, but it's pleasure and sadness, and I think that like that sadness is there because the knowledge that you can't experience it again exactly the same way, that you will never be able to experience that thing again. So yeah, nostalgia, pleasure and sadness from remembering this thing that you can't have, or a past thing that you can't have. Let's be very specific, because that gets into some other stuff. So, I don't know. I have a problem with this, I guess, in my own life. So, if we start out with the nostalgia is the useless emotion, like I said, that phrase that my friend had said, like we were talking about it in like a more humorous way, and I don't remember what it was even about. It was so long ago, and we've talked about it probably more than once, but about how just like, yeah, that's a useless thing, and throw that out the window. Like nostalgia's dumb. And it shouldn't really be a thing. And I think we were talking more about like feeling nostalgic for like, oh yeah, I remember those good times and you were a kid and everything was great and innocent and like you don't have to deal with this, that, or the other thing, and that's kind of dumb. Like I don't know, I agree. Like with that, like that's a dumb thing to feel sometimes. Like I feel it. Like it's kind of inescapable. Really, for like I definitely feel it. Um, in that context too. But then I don't know, just like feeling nostalgic for the past because things are better in the past than they are in the present. I guess is why that happens. Or you just like frame it that way in your mind, or I don't know. For me, it's just like I don't know. I'm having a tough time right now, so like sometimes I'm like pining for something from my past, and that's not even like the regular nostalgic thing that I think people usually think of when they think of nostalgia about how something was so great. But I mean, your memory is such a tricky thing too, right? You can't trust your memory at all, and we'll get into more of that because I hate memory in some ways. But yeah, nostalgia, useless emotion, as my friend was saying. Like it's just like it's pointless. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't do anything good for you. Like whenever you feel it, you should just push that down. Just like throw it out because it doesn't really do anything positive for you. And in the moment, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like that's a dumb thing to feel. Like we should avoid that at all costs. Like nostalgia's dumb. um, I don't really know where I was gonna go with that, other than the fact that like yeah, it's I don't know. I just love that that definition is actually so accurate because sometimes you can like dispute definitions in a way or be like I never really like, it's all contextual and how like we interpret it or how our specific culture, whether it's like our family culture or like our local culture or whatever uses a certain word, it might mean something different than the dictionary says. I just like the fact that it's like pleasure and sadness because like it's so very very accurate. Pleasure and sadness from remembering something you can't have, basically. um, yeah, I don't know, I focus on like the sad part more than the pleasure part because like again that sadness is there because you can't have like the pleasure of that thing again. Like the memory to me, I don't know, there's like in movies and stuff like that, like there's people that experience nostalgia and it's like this sweet little thing, and then they kind of move on. And for me, it's really difficult to move on from that in like this like, oh, that was a nice memory, and then you go on trucking with your day, and like for me, it's more like that was a nice memory, and that's all it is a memory, and I can't experience that again, and I can't have that, and that's in the past, and it's dead. So like it's really hard for me to just like move on from that in a way that's positive, or just like experiencing the memory for what it was and then that's it. Um, it just doesn't really happen that way for me. But that's, I don't know. I guess moving into that whole thing of memory as a tactless device is that memory can just like hit you like, it's not like you can actively engage in a memory once it hits you, but it's not like, I don't know. It's not like usually a conscious thought of like, I want to remember this thing that was sad. I want to remember this thing that's painful and hurtful. Let's fixate on that. Like it's, I mean, you can fixate on it once the memory comes, but that's why I use that phrase, memory is a tactless device, because it hits me at times where I don't want it to, right? Like, it's there. It's part of the sadness and pain that I don't want to experience, right? And it's just so brutal. Faced with the question like that, I forgot the name of the movie. Faced with the question that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind kind of proposes, like if you could erase memories of a person, would you do that? And I really don't think I would, because despite the fact that I hate having that pain or whatever, or maybe I'm just saying it because that's like the poetic thing to say or think or feel about, like, this is what it means to be human and I like being human or whatever, but like I don't think I would do that. I don't think I could go through with that. Like, just that, I don't know. It'd be a really difficult decision to make, because I mean, once you make that decision, like if things were to work accurately, once you make that decision to erase that person or memory or whatever, then you wouldn't even remember that you did it. So you would just be, ignorance is bliss, right? And I've often said to counter ignorance is bliss is the fact that I'd rather be like smart and depressed, or like smart and sad, or like, I don't know. I'd rather be like frustrated and wise. But that's also just kind of where I happen to be. Not like I'm really smart and wise, but I just mean that the things that I'm aware of, I guess, like that cause me pain, I guess I'd rather still be aware of them and just have to deal with those emotions, even though it sucks. And sometimes I wish I would fit into that other camp of like ignorance is bliss, because I can't turn it off. Like once I am aware of something, it's really difficult for me to just not know it. Like I can act in contrast to the thing that I know I shouldn't be doing with like that knowledge. I completely just act in the opposite way that I need to, but it's not forgetting it. Whereas if I was ignorant to that thing, then I could just do it and feel fine about it, I guess, without any guilt associated, or oh, I didn't know. Like I don't know. Anyway, off the rails. Memory and nostalgia and stupid things, hurtful things, painful things. They suck. And again, like it's something that just like I really try not to indulge in those memories or nostalgic moments too much, unless I'm trying to bring it up for like an artistic purpose. But like it's always usually like I don't know how to remember something that was like a really good time and then just have it be a happy memory, because there's so many things, like I don't know, like unless I'm about to do that thing again, it's like, oh yeah, man, I had the best bike ride ever yesterday, like can't wait to do that again, like I have a memory of this awesome thing. But like so many other things, I'm like, man, like being in the band was a really good time, like it was so fun, and like now that'll probably never happen again, right? Like, or not happen in the same way for sure, but I mean like while I was in the band and it was like, oh man, that show was amazing, it felt so good, blah, 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 and then our intention was to do it again and do it again. So, but just now, like, I don't know, so much, maybe it's just because I'm a really, I don't know what kind of person that I can't just, it's really difficult for me to just take things and feel positive about them and just like feel that warm feeling without feeling the sadness behind it or the pain with it. Which is one reason, like, again, I have a hard time staying in the present. It's like, usually it's because I'm way more in the future. And the good thing is that I'm not in the past that much, because it's too painful to be there. Maybe that's because, like, I haven't coped, like, or I haven't resolved those feelings. I don't know how. I don't know, maybe I have just a bunch of loose ends everywhere just within me, that I can't resolve, and that if I did resolve them, I should be able to just look at those things without any pain. I don't I don't know how to just do that. Like when it comes to things that like you can't talk to that person about, or it's something that you've got to resolve within you and has nothing to do with you, or maybe you've already talked to that person and it's still something you feel. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like this thing, this horrible thing. And I don't know, like everyone experiences this stuff differently because, like I said, some people can just like have this like nice memory, and there's not really the sting of sadness that accompanies it. And I envy that, I guess. But again, like I use those memories and stuff, or I indulge in them only if it's like to forward my art, because I don't want to be in that place longer than I have to be at all. I've got a really hard time staying in the present, and part of that is like acknowledging the past in the present and then moving forward with it. It's like it just drags me down too quick, too deep, and then I just want to overcompensate by moving forward so much. Sometimes by acting in a way that will force me to deal with consequences, or like force me to deal with a new problem that I can't even remember the old one. I don't know. It's messed up. I just like I said, I don't think I would ever like do something that would prohibit my memories from flooding up. But I just I don't know. I need to. It's not even about like I wish I just didn't have bad memories. Like that makes me. That makes us. Like like people that have those memories. I mean, it does something. And I don't want to necessarily not have that feeling of nostalgia or these memories that challenge you. I guess it's just really difficult for me to not feel overwhelmed by them. Because it's not something I don't know what to do about them. I guess that's the thing. I feel powerless. I feel like I am not in control because I'm not. Because a memory just like it just like comes up, and then I'm like, that hurts, that sucks, and then you have no. I feel like I don't have control of to like. I have no control of the fact that it came, and the fact that it came up seems like it was like enough. Like it was too. It was such a. It's such a disruption for me emotionally to have certain memories that like with like time is the all healing master. Like with time memories fade. With time a memory doesn't mean as much as it used to. Even if you can like recall the memory, it's like easier for me to like push it out than I can think of people or scenarios or whatever, and it's obviously not as painful or strong or raw as it was closer to the incident or closer to the time that it like was a present instead of a past. But yeah, I think that lack of control is like something too. Like I have a really hard time with not being in control of a situation, and part of that is like I feel like my own emotions. I feel like I can't control my own emotions. I don't even know what that means anymore. Like I never mean it in a way of like I'm absolutely flipping the F out and I can't control it. Like I've had bouts of anger before that have like resulted in me yelling at people and stuff, and there's like a line that like, I just wouldn't ever cross, I guess. Like I don't know, like I was in control enough to be aware of what I was doing. I just didn't care to stop what I was doing. So like, I don't know, anyway, like I just like not being in control of my emotions, meaning like that just like sometimes when a wave of sadness or nostalgia or something or a memory attacks me, like I'm like I don't like I can't choose. I feel like I don't actually get to choose how I can like move past that or deal with it. Like I don't know how. Again, like this relates to like sitting in sadness. I'm like what do I do with this? How do I do things with this? I don't know what to do. It's just time. That's it. Is like time is the only thing that will heal some things. At least for me, I know how to make things worse, but I just don't know how to make things better. I feel like the most positive thing I can do is like a passive thing, which is just be aware that time is the ultimate healer. Okay, I'm aware of that, but like that still takes things out of my hands and out of my control, and it's just letting your heart and mind and soul and body like recover from whatever that thing is. Like it doesn't, like I don't know how to actively like, I don't know, because you can run from things. That's what like running from things is. Like, okay, I'm gonna go and do this and do that and do that, and yet you're not dealing with a thing. But I don't know what dealing with the memory or dealing with the issue means. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't like I that's where I just like I feel like I'm completely missing a piece that other people seem to understand when they talk about, like, yeah, you need to deal with that. Well, how? How do I process, like, if I've thought about it already and I've talked about it or like processed it and I understand why it happened and maybe or whatever, like I feel like then it plateaus and I'm like, yeah, and it's still there. Now what? You tell me, now what? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, nostalgia is a useless emotion. Memory is a tactless device. These are evil, evil things. Um, and yeah, that's where we're at today. See you on another time.